Hey everyone, let's boost your TOEFL TOEIC listening skills with hot topics and fun vibes, ready to learn and stay sharp. I'm your host, and today on the deep dive, we're taking a really interesting look at some recent news, stuff coming out of Taiwan. It looks like quite a few Taiwanese celebrities are, well, in the spotlight over their mandatory military service obligations. We've pulled together some news articles, even a YouTube transcript, to really get into what's happening. And the big question, the one that really stood out from one article is this: why do successful people, especially celebs, seem more likely to find ways around this duty? Let's dive into the material and see what we find.
Yeah, that's a great question to frame this. And the sources definitely give us a few ways to look at it. Psychologically, two ideas really pop out. One is this privilege mentality.
Privilege mentality.
Yeah, it's this sort of belief that having more money, more power, kind of exempts you from the rules everyone else follows.
Right, like the obligations don't quite apply.
Exactly. And tied to that is exception psychology, that feeling you're special. That you're entitled to different standards.
And you can see how that might fit the celebrity world, right? They often get special treatment, VIP access, that kind of thing.
Precisely. One source points that out their whole environment can reinforce this feeling of being, well, different, set apart.
So maybe military service just feels like a huge, unwelcome interruption to that norm.
Could be. And we see examples in the sources, like the Korean actor Son Hong-ho. Yeah, remember that? He tried faking health issues years ago. Big scandal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Didn't end well for his image for a while.
Not at all. And there's mention of Chinese actors, too, J.C. Chan, Ko Chen-tun, facing scrutiny over possibly dodging obligations. And just generally, the articles mention celebs using medical notes or maybe looking at immigration loopholes.
So it's not unique to Taiwan, then?
Seems like a recurring theme, yeah. People with resources may be trying to use that privilege to avoid civic duties.
Okay, so that's the psychological angle. But you mentioned behavioral economics, too. How does that fit in?
Right. So think about the risk-reward trade-off. It's a basic model in decision-making. You basically weigh the potential downsides against the potential upsides, subconsciously or not.
Okay, so for a celebrity thinking about dodging service, what are the risks?
Well, the sources point to public condemnation. That's huge. Damage to their image, their brand.
Which could mean losing contracts, fans.
Exactly. Serious career impact, big downsides in their line of work.
Image is everything.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But then look at the rewards from their perspective. No interruption to their career. They stay relevant, keep their competitive edge, maybe even internationally. And some might think, with good PR, they can manage any fallout. It's a gamble.
And what about the legal ways to postpone? Like for athletes or students, does that play into the gamble?
That's a really good point. Those legitimate deferment paths, they might make the whole idea of avoidance seem, well, less daunting. If you can already legally delay it, maybe pushing it further seems like a smaller step. It could lower the perceived cost of trying.
Makes sense. Which brings us to this recent stuff, the Flash Brigade scandal. That term itself is quite something. Reports came out around May 14th, 2025, right? What's the core issue there?
The core reason cited. Pretty much what we've been discussing, fear of career interruption. Losing popularity, losing income while they're away, getting replaced. It's a cutthroat industry.
Yeah, being out of sight can mean being out of mind pretty quickly.
Totally. And the money aspect is stark, isn't it? Celebrity income versus military pay. It's a massive difference, a huge economic hit for them.
So the articles talk about how they allegedly tried to delay it. This endless graduation thing sounds wild.
Yeah, Wuxianyanbi. Basically, just keep enrolling in school. High school, uni, master's, PhD. Apparently, PhD students can push it off until they're 33.
33? Wow, that's a long time. Are there other ways to delay legally?
Yes, family reasons, like being the sole breadwinner or caring for sick or disabled parents or kids. But you need proof it's reviewed officially.
Okay, so that's legit, but has hurdles.
Right. And then there's long-term overseas residency. You have to be out of Taiwan for over 183 days a year, apply each year, basically live abroad.
Got it. And permanent exemption, getting out entirely.
The sources mention two main ways for feeding. First is health or body type. Get a C or D grade on the physical. Think severe asthma, heart problems, epilepsy, cancer, major vision issues, serious mental illness, or extreme BMI, that kind of thing.
Okay, genuine medical reasons.
Or renouncing your citizenship.
Whoa, that's a drastic step just to avoid service.
It is. Then there's the age thing. What if you just keep delaying past the conscription age?
Right. What's the cutoff?
Usually 36 for mandatory service, 40 for supplementary. Generally, after that, you don't serve unless they find evidence you intentionally evaded.
So even if you're caught over 36, you might face penalties, but probably not actual service.
Seems that way. One article mentioned a 36-year-old engineer who came back after 20 years abroad. Got a 3-month sentence, but could pay a fine instead.
Interesting. Okay, but this flash brigade situation seems organized, this evasion industry chain idea.
Yeah, that's the concerning part. It suggests it's not just isolated cases, but maybe a network, expanding from entertainment into, potentially, the medical field.
Yeah.
The arrest of this Cheng Xingzhu Jian person seems key. Allegedly helped Wang Talu, connected with others, maybe up to 11 celebrities involved through this network.
11? Wow. And how did this network allegedly operate? What were they doing?
The main method discussed, especially in the YouTube transcript, seems to be faking high blood pressure, like running around just before the test, using dodgy home monitors with stand-ins, they called them gunmen, maybe even using meds to spike the readings.
Good grief, that's elaborate. Not just asking a doctor for a favor.
Apparently not. There's even mention of a public hospital in northern Taiwan being investigated in connection with it all.
So who are the celebrities named in these reports?
Okay, let's see. The sources list Liao Weilian, also known as William, Chen Lingchu, Chen Tatian or Xiaoxia, Wu Qijian Ahu, Chen Xinwei, Li Qimu or Li Chuan, Wang Talu, of course, Huang Liangchun or Taken, Chen Xiangxi, Teddy, and Huang Bushi.
Quite a list. And their ages vary quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah, from 24 up to 39, based on one source's categorization.
And the cost. What did this allegedly cost them?
Reports say anywhere from tens of thousands up to millions of new Taiwan dollars. Seems like it depended on how famous they were. Wang Talu allegedly paid millions.
Millions. Wow.
And apparently a guy named Chen Lin was the last one apprehended in this group. And the common thread, as you said, often seems to be this claim of high blood pressure.
Right. So legally speaking, what are they actually facing here?
Okay, the main law is the Act Governing Offenses Against Military Service Obligation. Refusing the call-up or faking your physical status. That could mean up to 5 years in prison.
5 years? That's serious. Is that what usually happens?
Well, in practice, the sources suggest many cases end up with fines instead of jail time. That's the Yekofajen thing, or suspended sentences. But really blatant cases like forging medical records, that might lead to actual jail time, maybe 4 or 5 months.
Is there a time limit to prosecute this? A statute of limitations?
Yeah, usually 20 years under the criminal code for the evasion itself. Remember the age limit, 36. So get caught after 36, you likely face penalties, but maybe not the service itself.
But there could be other charges too, right? Beyond just dodging service.
Absolutely. Forging documents, that's another potential 5 years, detention or fines under the criminal code. And if you use those fake documents with the government, you could face charges for making a public official record false info.
Okay, so it's a web of potential charges, and the government seems to be cracking down.
Definitely looks that way. The Ministry of Interior confirmed they proactively investigated 120 cases of suspicious physical statuses earlier this year, all sent to judicial authorities.
So they're not letting it slide.
Seems not. And importantly, if someone's exemption is found to be bogus, it gets revoked. They get reevaluated, and if fit, they have to serve.
And there's talk of changing the rules, too.
Yeah, the Ministry of Interior asked the Ministry of National Defense to review the physical fitness standards, trying to close loopholes, make it fairer.
Which touches on the bigger societal questions this whole thing raises, doesn't it?
It really does. Like one article asks, why do high-status people seem more likely to try and dodge these things? Is the system flawed? Is society too tolerant? It definitely fuels calls for a fairer system, where everyone plays by the same rules no matter who they are.
It's interesting to compare with South Korea, as the articles did. Their reaction seems much stronger.
Generally, yes. Public outrage over draft evasion there is intense. Think Yu Sung-jun, or MC, among huge career consequences. Military service in South Korea is often seen very differently, like a point of national pride, almost an honor.
Whereas in Taiwan,
the reaction is strong now, certainly, but the historical consequences haven't always been as career-ending. Now, though, there are suggestions to up the penalties in Taiwan, maybe even create special military courts for these cases.
Right. Well, this has been quite the deep dive. We've covered the psychology, the economics, the alleged methods of this flash brigade, the legal side, and these broader societal debates.
We have. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. With the public reaction being so strong now and the legal system involved, what does this tell us about how expectations for public figures are changing? It makes you think, doesn't it? About that balance between personal ambition and, well, civic duty, especially when it comes to something like national defense, something to chew on.